Hey everyone, Alex from Fat American Manufacturing, and today I'm in our tech center. You can see all the vehicles behind me. I am coming to you with a quick video on how I'm using continuous improvement to work through my revisions on this Minomi cart behind me. So here's my first revision. I got it put together. I got the Omron AMR interfacing with it, and I wanted to work through a few of my revisions that I'm going to make. First things first, these trays that I designed kind of suck. They're kind of sticky, and eventually they're going to have some pretty bad corrosion and scratching underneath where they interface with the part that they slide in. Another thing that I didn't like was the side supports are obstructing your ability to reach through and load the shelves from the sides. The opening here on the front has 4 triangles that were supposed to mate with the open shelf, but as I'm finding out, once the shelves are open, it makes it less desirable to reach into the opening. And finally, it was just a little noisy when it was wheeling around. I think our attempt at going with 14 gauge steel was just not quite enough, so I'm gonna try and up that for my next round as well. Here I am with my second revision. I made some pretty big improvements that I'm happy with. It's not quite all the way there yet, but I am definitely getting to what will be the final design. Everything's made out of 11 gauge steel, so it's going to be much more sturdy and be able to bear a lot more weight on the middle of these shelves. Should also help with some of the rattling that I was seeing when it was being driven by the robot. Additionally, the side supports are gone. So with the thicker material, I was able to beef up the shelves without needing that extra support. So now you have a free reach on all 3 shelves, no matter where you approach the cart from. A big improvement to the slides on this is they're now cabinet rollers instead of surface to surface. So I shouldn't have any friction problems or any scratching on the powder coat finish once this thing is coated. Additionally, I added these detents in the open and closed position. So when you slide this thing to its open position, it drops into a latch. This thing is now locked in. I added a handle, which we will use internally. It's pretty quick to remove. As you can see, I also added flags here on the side. There's 1, 2, 3 here to indicate what size cell, what weld cell the product on this cart will need to go to. There's 3 flags that are bolted on that will indicate red, yellow, or green to show the status of the job, so everyone from afar can have some visual control. Before I get this thing finished up and powder coat it, I do have one more revision I would like to make. Although the slides do function much better than they did previously, I still had to make the slide narrow enough to clear the hardware that's inside of here. As a result, it's narrow enough that if you pull it unevenly, you can get it on an angle that's also going to cause it not to interface with its notches like it's supposed to. I need to figure out a way to remedy that problem. This thing's looking way better, and I think it's going to serve a much better purpose for us. I wanted to loop you guys in. I came to an interesting solution today for the problem that I mentioned. Shelf is in its closed position, but what I've done is I just added a small feature coming off of behind the tabs here in all 4 corners. So there's a small tab next to the wheel, and that's going to do is allow us to bring a plastic nylon spacer in, and I'll be able to bolt a bolt with a nylock nut here to leave it loose so that the spacer is allowed to spin. Now, as you slide this door, those spacers are going to be positioned in a way where they're going to ride along this edge here, and it should keep the door straight and allow it to smoothly open and close all the way from lock to lock. With this revision, I'll be able to get new parts and get everything powder coated and see how it functions. All right, guys, thanks for watching. That's just a little hint into the day-to-day in our engineering department, and kind of a fun example of how continuous improvement is helping us get from an idea to a concept to a product, and something that ultimately should help us in almost all of our operations.